Of the largest union at the post office, the Communication Workers Union. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for having us.
So, as a layperson, as somebody looking in, it seems like there has been endless labour disputes at the post office. Do you agree with the Minister that that's all long gone now?
Absolutely. Actually, we are very excited that we have reached this agreement. It's been a long journey. I think it's almost a decade now that we've been fighting against casualization, labor brokers and all of that. And we have come to an agreement that says come the 1st of August, that comes to an end. And amongst other things that you'll recall, 2014, 2015 workers were not given their salary increase. That back pay will work positively in terms of their finances. And of course, this current financial year, 6.5%, which will be backdated again from the 1st of April to August, where now they'll start to have their normal salary increase, will make a significant impact on their financial
Okay, so workers are in for a boom because they're getting back pay from 2014, I think August it is. Was there compromise on your side?
Yes, a number of compromises have been reached. Amongst others is that we have skipped 2015, 2016 a year of salary increase, so we did not take that salary increase. Looking into the question that we had 3.7 billion rands that we're working on. That 3.7 billion rands also includes post office debts with the service providers and all other areas that needs to be addressed. But also this agreement covers what we call salary anomalies in post office, where there were salary differentials in regards to a same division. And also it includes, amongst other things, to correct other measures in post office that were not corrected. So it's not only focusing on salary increases, and also the step of taking workers into permanization. You'll recall that it's over 6,000 workers that were in casualization. This will mean that they will now start to have their medical aid, they'll start to have their housing subsidies, they'll also have their pension fund. So it's a broad budget that we're looking into.
Mr. Shabalala, given what's transpired, however, have you not won the battle but not the war? Because it seems like the post office, after all this turmoil, is a shadow of what it used to be. Doesn't that have implications for jobs, for everybody who even works at the post office even now?
Hence, we are still forging ahead with the discussions with the headquarters of the ANC at Ilutuli House, that we find that it's important that the government utilizes post office as their sole postal and courier services. We want to find a footprint of post office in the local and provincial and national government institution in all the SOEs, so that we can be able to revamp the business of South African Post Office.
So you are now actually standing with management, going to the ANC saying, please save our post office, basically. Well, it's an interesting development.
It is an interesting development, but fundamentally, it's all about saving South African Post Office and also looking into the poor of this country. We use post office as a service provider. It also have footprints in the outskirts of the country. So if you save that institution, you're basically reflecting to the service delivery of the poor.
Can you save this institution when there is a perception that workers can go on strike at the drop of a hat? Because if I go and bank at the post office, it's now a risk. If this could risk government services, if government uses the post office as its front office, as it were.
We have to work on that. I think one thing is that it's a wrong perception that workers can go on strike at the drop of a hat. Why I'm saying that is because you'll recall that the corrupt management that we worked so hard to take it out, including its board previously, used to sign agreements every fortnight with different groups of workers, and that caused the turmoil in the post office. Now we have brought all systems together, where we have one bargaining chamber where you can engage with the various other trade union movements. There's now what I will call lawful processes that everyone can follow. So once you bring order into an institution, you are about now to control that institution effectively.
Is that correct? Because as I understand, there was an illegal strike recently. I think that was led by a different union, the Influential, Informal and Communication Union of South Africa. And your relationship with them, the CWU's relationship with that union, is a bit troublesome.
Well, the last meeting, our mass meeting, we called them, they were part of it. We also gave them free advices because we also had at the time a certificate to embark on the industrial action. We asked them to join us. Unfortunately then, they have decided that the best way to go about it is an industrial action that is not protected. We have warned workers that they embark on such an action. One cannot celebrate the dismissal of workers in general. It's an unfortunate stance that they've taken, but it's only a matter of weeks if they would have waited for this discussion to come to a closure, which is today. They would have also reaped the benefits because all of them would have been permanent. Now they are fighting to coming back, which is another unfortunate circumstance.
Okay, so just very quickly, from the CWU, the biggest union, can you say you will be reluctant to go on strike? The strikes will be legal in future and hopefully avoidable?
In fact, there's no need for a legal strike. Once you have a management that is engaging you, you sit around the table, you discuss issues, debate around them, disagree where you disagree because that's natural. There's no need for industrial action. The industrial action only happens when you have no talks at all, when someone closes the door and all of that. So I don't think that with the current approach of the board as well as the CEO and his team, that there will be need of any industrial action. What we need to do now is to work together, forging ahead and making that we make sure that there's a recapitalization of post office.
All right, so it sounds like a lot of healing of relationships. Thank you for your time. Aubrey Shabalala, the General Secretary of the Communication Workers Union, the biggest at the Post Office.